Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're just out in our little expansion room off of where I have my pool table. If you want to see the full arcade, check out the updated tour we just did. But in this session, we're going to be checking out the Legends Ultimate Mini. Alright, so let's get into it. This is the Legends Ultimate Mini by ArcadeNet. We paid $199 for this from Sam's Club. We did have the Tetris Mini. Check out the review on the channel. We weren't overly impressed with that. I decided to give this a second chance, especially at this price point, and see if anything could improve since, and if we could give this a better recommendation, especially at the $200 point. So let's get into the UI and show you some gameplay. So we've got the screen set up in vertical mode here. The cool thing about this product, comes with a little sticky. I've taken the screws out of the screen here. You can actually just pull out the screen, set that aside, take out the screen itself, and just rotate that round. You can see it automatically senses that it's been rotated. It should do. There we go. It wants to go the other way. There we go. Senses that it's been rotated, and then you can then pop it back in, and you can play that in horizontal mode for your horizontal games. Now this is a very cool feature by ArcadeNet. It's really annoying if you're playing a multicade and you've got a vertical screen and you want to play a horizontal game and vice versa, because it only uses half of the screen space. So let's just pop this back into the vertical mode for now, because I do want to show you Pinball and some vertical games on this. I'd say I'd probably keep this in vertical mode most of the time, just because I've got a lot of cabinets that are horizontal already, and only a few, like my Pac-Man beside me here, and Miss Pac-Man that are vertical. So take the sticky back off. And it takes a while just to update itself, do whatever it needs to do once you've changed the orientation. So, same menu, hasn't updated in the 6 months since we last had a look at this. Very basic menu. It doesn't really follow any principles of good UI design as far as I can tell. Really does need an overhaul. Once you start to use it, you kind of get to understand how to better navigate and get to different games. But if someone was walking in your house and wanted to play something on this, it's just really hard to find anything. It's not very intuitive. I know now you can come down to the games, you press the App Games button, and you've got this little side pop-out menu which helps you get into featured titles, favourites you can set, recent games, and then you've got channels, which are things like the publishers. So if you just go to Data East or Disney, platforms, Arcade Genesis, other consoles, and you can see I downloaded the Gottlieb pinball pack there, or if you had different inputs for different types of games, you could select that there. So let's have a look at some of the included games first. So if we just stay on all games, so you can see here you've got 12 games per screen. Let's have a quick flick through. A lot of Genesis, SNES games and some arcade games on here. You've got Bad Dudes, which is pretty cool. Bubble Bobble. Burger Time's pretty cool. What else have we got on here that's any good? You can see a lot of lower quality, not premium games on here, but still, good fillers. I think there is probably 15 or 20 games on here that are actually quite good. So let's continue through and call those out. What's on here? That Donald is a Genesis game, but Donald in Malad is pretty good fun. You've got Drift out there, is quite good. Earth Joker UN Defense Force and EDF Earth Defense Force, both good games. Elevator Action Returns, that's pretty good. I actually paid $10 or so on my iArcade to download that. That's included here, no cost. Fix It Felix, that's a pretty cool game, especially if you've got it in the vertical orientation mode here. Gate of Doom Dark Seal, that's another good one that I actually purchased on iArcade. What else we got here? Heavy Barrel, that's very cool. I mean, if I was at games, I perhaps would have done the cabinet themed as Heavy Barrel. You've got the Joe and Matt games. I used to play those quite a bit on the SNES. They're quite good. Jungle Book is a Genesis title. If you've got kids, they might like that one. And Lion King also. What else we got here? Midnight Resistance, that's quite cool. Operation Wolf and Operation Thunderbolt would be light gun games. I understand the Sinden light guns are not compatible with this. There is another make and model which is currently out of stock everywhere, but you can still play that with a joystick, of course. What else here? Rastan. A lot of people rave about that in the iArcade community. Personally, not a huge fan of that. Space Invaders again. iArcade, I think we're very excited to get that title, but a little bit too old for my liking. Stormblade is a good one on here. If you haven't played that, that's worth checking out if you pick up one of these. What else we got here? The 3 Star Wars games from the Super Nintendo. I used to love those on the SNES, but really can't seem to be bothered to get back into them on here. I don't know if it's because I'm used to playing them with a joypad rather than a joystick, but I just couldn't get back into these. You've got the original Tetris there, that's quite good. It doesn't really scale well for the vertical mode as you think it might do, but not bad all the same. And then what else we got here? Not much on there worth talking about. We've got the pinball tables that I've added. Oh, Zombies Ate My Neighbours, that's a Genesis title, that's very cool. I preferred it on the Super Nintendo, but it's still pretty good on here. So yeah, like I say, you've probably got about maybe 10 or 15 games on here that are any good. You know, if you were buying an Arcade 1-Up product, you'd only get 10 or 12 games, but at least with the Arcade 1-Up products, one of the titles, at least, that the marquee is based on is going to be a premium title. With this, I don't really feel like there are any premium titles on it at all. However, you can expand it, and like I said, although these pinball tables are not your Zen Studios top quality games, they're okay, they're good fun. And that's, keep that in mind, this is only $200, so you know, expectations are fairly low. But let's get into some gameplay anyway. While we're in vertical mode, let's check out a vertical game. One of my favourites on here. Let's check out Fix It Felix. Alright, that's enough of that game. Fantastic game, probably one of my favourites on here. Just quit that for a second. I do want to show you a few games, show you some gameplay. As you could tell there, the speakers are fairly decent. They blast out plenty of volume for you. No complaints there at all. Just click back. Another of my favourites on here, as you can probably tell, as I was talking about the decals they should have done. Heavy Barrel, let's take a look at that. So P1 on this title inserts a coin, and then to get started, what button to press to start the goddamn game. There we go. He wanted a coin before then. Reminds me very much of Ikari Warriors, which I think is available on their ArcadeNet, or used to be. I don't know if it still is. Alright, so yeah, definitely a fun game, would be in my top 10 on here. Let's just quit that for a second. I want to show you a pinball game next. So I'm just going to use the menu here, the shortcut, just so we get to the right platform here. Pinball pack. And let's take a look at Haunted House. That's one of the premium games, I guess. Probably out of all of the Gottlieb and the Zachariah tables, I've never really played any of them. Definitely more of a kind of Zen Studios if I'm going to play virtual pinball, but Haunted House and Rescue 911 played both of those physical cabinets. But let's have a look at the Haunted House first. Now, this system does have the pinball flippers on the side, doesn't have any force feedback, any haptics, so you're just going to rely on the sound coming out to kind of help with the overall experience of the pinball. Now it says along the bottom the rewind button is play, start is add a player, I only want one player, press the play button, all I can do is hear the springs rattling inside. It's actually A to get started, it took me a while to find that out. And then you can pull back. On the joystick you don't have the plunger, but if you did buy the bigger Legends pinball table you would of course get the plunger. I don't mind using the joystick, to be honest. I have noticed the buttons stick on this one, they didn't stick on the Tetris one I had. So you press the button and you have to kind of hit it a few times to get it to release. Or hit it a few times to get it to work at all. So yeah, it's kind of okay. I could, I will play this a little bit more and kind of get better at it, but you just don't have that immersive feel on this that you get from the arcade one-up tables. Having said that, this is only $200 and it's an arcade cabinet as well, versus those which were $550, $600 or so. So I think for me, with lots of space and lots of cabinets, obviously the arcade one-ups for pinball are going to be better than this. But if you were looking for a single multicade that you could play pinball, flip the screen and play horizontal games as well, for $200 you can't argue this is fantastic value, and definitely fills that lower end market where you're not going to have lots of different cabinets. Let's just quit out of here. I'll show you a couple of other features. So to get that Gottlieb pinball pack, you have to go to your ArcadeNet login on a web browser. You have to buy it, you get a redemption code, and you then enter that redemption code in App Store X. So you just go into App Store X. Once that eventually loads, 5 hours later, the UI is particularly slow on this thing, by the way. You come down in here and it shows you down the bottom, press the home button to redeem a code, and you can then put your code in there. That's what we did. It actually downloads the pinball games now onto local storage, which is cool. Previously I had downloaded onto a USB key, which I subsequently lost. It seems like about $50 I spent on those tables previously is gone. I'd have to repurchase apparently if I want to buy the Tato pinball packs that I bought on that Tetris system. So yeah, once you've redeemed your code, it will show up in here and you can download it. There's also bring your own game. We're not going to review that on here. Obviously, for those that know, you can play pirate ROMs on this. It makes it very easy to do that, and we will be getting a stick and checking that out, but just not on this review. You've then got your leaderboards for ArcadeNet, and you've got ArcadeNet itself. Now, when I reviewed the Tetris Mini, I paid the $60 for a year's membership to ArcadeNet, and it had a ton of games in, but now it only seems to have a few. So let's just flip the screen back round and we'll check out King of Fighters 2003. Okay, so the screen sensed that I flipped it round and has changed its orientation. Let's give it a minute to come back up. There we go. Let's go into ArcadeNet. I may have to re-enter my subscription there. It's got a subscribe thing on the side here. Oh, we've got Cloud Pinball on there we can play. Okay, so that's why I'm only seeing 5 games there. Probably it wants me to log in somehow. Let's have a look if I can quickly do that. I don't want to buy that again. I've already got that, so I don't know how we get that to transfer to this account. I'll have to check that out another time. I haven't got time in this video, but let's check out King of Fighters. So it plays these in the cloud. Obviously it's going to go to a server in the cloud to play these. I don't know why anybody would want to subscribe to this service when it makes it so easy to play pirate games, but the option is there if you want to be a good citizen and pay for the games on this system. If I was wanting to play this, I would have given up by now. 3 minutes is a ridiculous time to wait to play a game that can be run on very old technology. Wow, I'm bored. I can't even quit back out, I've got to wait for it. I was going to quit out and not show you that, but let's just sit here and wait. I've got to say, what I found with the Tetris Mini, which is obviously very similar to this, is that you spend more time messing around, configuring, downloading, updating, messing around with it than you do actually playing games. And that's what I prefer about having a multicade. Literally, I only want to play the one game that is on the marquee. Walk up, play the game that you should, just like you would do in the arcade. Really not a fan of these multicades, to be perfectly honest. Alright, so insert coin, I would imagine that was P1, but it isn't. Press the home button, that gives you a menu here. Right, so it's pull down and P1 to insert the credit.
Leader select.
See there, you've got some lag because you're not playing it locally. Sound's lagging out a bit.
Order select. Ready, go!
A little bit of a delay on the input as well, I think, versus the playing this on the MPSX cabinet.
You win!
なかなかのお手前で
Order select.
So there you go, not too bad. There's a bunch of other games once you do the full subscription. There's things like Akari Warriors. Personally, I would not recommend subscribing to that. The games have got quite a bit of lag. It might be psychological, but you know it's not playing locally and there's lag, and it's probably not that bad, but I just don't like it. Otherwise, I think that's about all we've got to show you. So, you know, in summary, I think for $200, this cabinet's pretty good. If you are looking for a cheap multicade, you haven't got much space, you want to be able to bring your own games, pirate ROMs, whatever, play a little pinball, rotate the screen, play some arcade games, very kind of diverse system here. If you want all of that for $200, I gotta say I do recommend getting one of these. And even in our arcade where we already had 28, this is number 29, I'm actually gonna keep this for $200. I mean, looking at the cabinet itself, everyone raves about the build quality on these, all the AtGames fans. They say how great it is. It isn't that good. It's just particle board like the arcade 1-ups. It's no better. The control deck, the quality of that, I'd say, is more like a Gen 1 arcade 1-up product. The later products in the latest generation of arcade 1-up sticks and buttons are far superior. I like the size of it. I think I prefer this. And in fact, if you look, where I've got this kind of column in the corner of the room, it actually allows me to put the Pac-Man and the Mini in the corner there. They actually fit in quite nice together. The artwork, I like the Star Wars decal at the side. I don't like having the multiple game logos on the front. So I'm definitely gonna be looking at some decals from Tyler at Arcade Graphics to rewrap this somehow. And then Savo's Arcade, I'm looking at getting a new plexi marquee because I just don't like that Legends Ultimate across the top. But anyway, all in all, for $200, can you really complain? No, I don't think so. I think this fits in quite nice here in the corner. I'm probably going to keep this one, and we'll be getting a USB thumb drive with a bunch of games, so stay tuned. We'll talk about what build we get. and how that works on this system. But thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on a future session. Thanks for watching. Happy gaming.